Here we go. Hello. It's another
Sunday.
Yes, indeed. I'm still basking in the glow of our 40th reunion last week. That was so special. So special. So anyway, welcome to the Shaker Heights, where experiences may vary. I'm your co-host, Gabe Tolliver.
With your co-host, Eric Green, finally recovering, realizing how old we really are.
Yes. Again, I wish I had been gay or icy hot packs immediately after the game. It would have saved me a lot of grief. But I don't regret it. I don't regret it. A shout out to our 84 family. Well, here we are. We're bringing up 85, and
Get Lloyd.
Yes, 85 get live. But listen, they're gonna have to step their game up when they have their reunion, because what you got, 85? What are you gonna bring to the table? We had kickball. What are you all gonna do? Yeah, and we had delicious cake from Archie's Huff Bakery. All right, with no further ado, let's bring this man of many talents to the stage. There we go.
Hey, everybody. Hello.
Hey, we have Broderick, a.k.a. Broderick Bebout.
A.k.a. Brud, yeah. I don't know.
Yes.
It's great to be here. Thank you guys so very much. And I've been watching your the episodes that you've been posting. And before we get, I just want to say this is amazing. It's wonderful that you guys are doing this. And I mean, I think we all knew that Shaker was a really special place to grow up and be a part of, to matriculate. But to see the peers that we have and where they've gone and the diversification and the things that we've contributed to this society, it's nothing short of amazing. It really makes me feel very special. And I'm so excited and glad that you guys are putting this together to celebrate it. It's just a lot of fun, and it makes me feel really good.
Well, I appreciate the words and the sentiment, and for us, it's a passion thing. I mean, I look forward to every Sunday, getting on here with Eric and getting Shaker folk on here to bear witness and share their stories and stuff like that. So appreciative.
I hope I hold up, and I hope I make it for an interesting segment that's on here, and add some value. But this is great.
I think you will. I have to show off the shirt that Eric did. For those who know. Who remembers those? Who remembers those? That's
I remember.
And then I don't know if you can see the back.
Lower.
Get low. There we go.
There you go.
Yes, keeping up appearances.
A little tongue in cheek there.
And then
reference.
I forgot to bring these. Pants last week to the reunion. These authentic Shaker sweatpants. So anyway, enough.
Well, before we go on, I would like to give condolences to Lomond, Byron, and Shaker class of 84 alumni. Douglas Thornton, I hear that you've lost your mother, and I think I heard from my sister, who's friends with your sister, class of 78. Hope everything is... I hope you're celebrating as well as you are remembering your mother at this time. Wish we could have seen you at the reunion, and hope to hear from you and speak with you one day on air, hopefully.
Indeed. That's why, celebrations like these are really special, and hopefully, these are about moments and experiences and stuff. So, okay, well, here we are with Broderick, a.k.a. Bebout.
We're going to find out what Brud truly be about. Sorry.
What it be about? There you go.
Shaker Brud.
Butch Byers used to say that every morning when I'd see Butch Byers. What it be about? He would greet me in the hall with that.
I think Butch was at our reunion last week.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. with so many people, I saw at a distance, but I didn't get a chance. But anyway, Brud, grab the mic like you're on Soul Train. So tell us about your shaker, your experience.
My shaker experience. So we moved to Cleveland. Well, my mom and dad were from Cleveland, from Shaker. My mom graduated from Shaker Heights High School. I was saying Carmen Parsaliti was our homeroom teacher, and so she walked those halls and did that. But we moved from Youngstown to Cleveland. I think I was like 3 years old or something like that. We moved on to Ellesmere. And so I was a walker to Fernway, and I was, kindergarten through 5th grade. I still can get a little upset with my parents about that, about pulling me out in 5th grade. And then we moved up to Colby, over by Fairmount Circle, where I finished 6th grade at Mercer. So I was, and anybody that went to Fernway knows the Fernway clap out. I feel very robbed that I didn't get the I am proud of Fernway clap out, do all that. So went over to Mercer, met a new group of guys, and then over to Byron and did Byron, and then off to the high school.
Okay. Do you have any siblings with?
Well, yes, I did. So I don't know if you remember my older brother, David, or Duke is what he went by. So he would have been class of 82 or 83 that's on that. But when I was 19, he passed away. He had skin cancer.
Oh, I'm so
sorry. And
it
was kind of came up, and then I graduated high school. It was in between my freshman and sophomore year of college. So he had gotten that, diagnosis like right when I graduated, that he had gotten cancer, and then succumb, about 13 months later on that. But he went to Shaker. He was a little bit more of a rule breaker. So my folks tried some private schools and some other things, but he showed them who was boss. He never really yielded and went his own way and did stuff. But then then I have a younger sister, and when we moved up to Mercer, she was in, I think, like 1st grade, and our next door neighbors and still like lifelong family friends they had kids, they all went to Jesu. And so my sister was like, those are my buddies. So she went to the Catholic school and went through that, and then did Beaumont, and she had a little issue that happened there that then she finished up at Gilmore. She was a good student.
You play any sports there at Byron or Shaker?
I did it all. Yeah. So I think for 85, it was Dan Cowan, Alvin Elder. I'm going to screw this up. Now I'm starting to name names I'm not going to remember. But me, I think there was only one of like 4 of us that from 7th grade through 12th grade played football. We were on the football team and did that. And I know I don't look it, but I swam. I was a swimmer, and I tried doing baseball. I was never very good. I played catcher, but Joel Heiser was a much better. And Greg, I never got in and did that. So the spring I didn't do a whole lot, but and then when I went to the high school, the swimmers, I don't think people got how hard they worked, and I didn't have that work ethic. So I started diving, and so I could still swim, but the divers had more fun, and we got to go on the bus. We got to go and do all the things that, but I dove a little bit. I guess I was a little reckless, but that was great. So I like doing that a lot.
Here's a question: have you tried on the Speedo? And you still have that packed away somewhere?
Got it on right now, Eric. No, no, that's very humbling to look at those pictures back in those days. I mean, I always viewed myself as kind of the thick kid. I had to shop in the Husky department, so putting on the Speedo was always a humbling thing on that. But I did it. I used to go, so no, those Speedo days are in the rearview mirror.
So did you have like an idea, like going through Shaker, particularly high school, as you're going towards senior year, about what you thought you wanted to do, or were there clues to your artistic side during that time?
Well, I guess maybe some clues, but none that I was paying attention to. I was, I don't know. I mean, I guess every kid probably has something like this, that if I only had executed or applied myself a little bit, I mean, and I'm just being truthful on that. This is you just celebrated 40 years. I'll be doing it next year. There were times I took the test, I never read the book, I mean, I never gave myself a shot. I'm like, oh, I'm a terrible student. Like, well, you didn't try, you never applied. Right. And I know you had, I listened to a show, you talked about Mr. Hoffman, but he was really one of the only teachers that I felt kind of pulled me aside and was like, what are you doing here? I mean, and I remember taking art because oh, cool, that's got to be an easy class. I like drawing. I like it. And people didn't get shit. That's a lot of work. You redo, you got to do that stuff. And I would turn it in, and he was like, his whole schlock, that's schlocky. And I'm like, you got to go do this again. And I had this mindset of like, look, I just wanted to turn it in, and then I'm done. The blackjack dealer. Good luck, everybody. But he kind of gave it back and redoing it, and then how that would improve and how that would get better. And I like to think as I got older, I got better at doing that. But, I see a lot of, my peers, our peers that were younger, that were doing that, were more serious about that and how that propelled them further. And they could kind of think or fantasize about what they wanted their future to be like. I didn't do that enough.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, I share a lot of that too, because when I look back at my time at Shaker, I was just a floater. I didn't, I didn't really have, I really wasn't locked in on anything. I was just there, So,
and a little bit of a tragedy on that. Well, when my brother passed away, I was at the University of Dayton, and same sort of MO. I was sort of struggling along, and, my dad had to put his arm around me and like, look, these great. This is just going to work if you're mailing it in at that. So I took a sabbatical, and I, did other stuff, some other different jobs. I moved out at an apartment. I lived over on Cheshire down by the Academy Tavern. And I worked at the Pier East with John. I was just doing a bunch of different stuff. I lived with a guy, David Steeler, graduated in 85. And I think I maybe got a little bit of that craziness out of me at that time. And then I ended up going back to school at Cleveland State and graduate. Now, it was a very different experience. It wasn't like kids throwing football across the quad. It was more like business. People were going to achieve something. And my focus, again, tragically, was more about get the degree. You need to get this done so you can propel on. And I applied myself, and I did really well when I went back and did that. And that was where that epiphany sort of happened. I was like, damn, if I had only done this back then, it wasn't that much harder. It was hard to do bad because all the like lying and running around that you had to do last minute. But, if I had just, applied myself, I would have done a lot better earlier on. So, live and learn.
What was your major in college?
Communication.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
I did well in a speech class. I was like, I kind of like, just as I was walking in, I wrote that. And I don't think I ever got a teacher that was like, hey, you're good at that. And I had a teacher that was like, you're good at speech, you did well at that. And I was like, I found my calling, I found, and that was about it. And then I got out and got sales jobs, as all, communication people do, and, I don't know. I didn't use it for, broadcast or other things that could have been an interesting.
Yeah, because I hear that in your voice. I wanted to be a broadcaster.
Easily.
My father talked me out of it. And aren't you doing some voiceover work? I lightly went over your Facebook page. Are you? If you're not, you should be.
Yeah, no, me, no. I'm Sunday. Big Daddy Dan Garlitz is coming. I know I'm not doing any voiceover.
I'm really surprised. I'm sure people come up to you all the time, because I would think that they would. I hear it a lot. I would assume that you do.
All of my friends will just tell you the reason people come up and say that is because he's so damn loud. I have a real volume problem. I talk really loud, and places I've worked, I've always got the bring it down. So I have a hard time doing that. So that might be why.
Who was that Cleveland announcer? Herb Score.
He would be a Joe Tate. He's very
Joe Tate. Yeah. Runners on first and second.
Waistline, Joe Tate. I don't know that. So
no, I mean your intonation and your timbre and all whatever those words are. You said. I mean, I would peg you as a Midwestern sportscaster.
You know what? For like shits and giggles, like you should do. Whenever they post the highlights of a team online, you should just do a color commentary sample.
Do a voiceover. Okay,
yeah,
I
do that.
All right, challenge myself to that on there.
Yeah.
I mean, but I kind of go to that whole thing. The one thing that's kind of missing from that is that you usually have to be good at sports to be a sports commentator.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I was the guy in the water bottle.
Those are the best people. The ones that are the worst at it are the best broadcasters.
That's right. Be the Bob Uecker of that. So, all right.
Or what's his name? Joe Buck.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and you have that. You like me. You have that nasally Midwestern tone.
Well, they do say that broadcasters who have a career in the Midwest are often more appealing because the accent and everything is like neutral.
Exactly. Yeah. Around our area where we grew up, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Living elsewhere, that's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite hobbies is trying to pick people's accents out, like listen for it. And anybody who lives in Pittsburgh, they can't get 5 feet from me. I nail that. I know them. Like I can hear that yin's going downtown or
of course. Yeah.
What about Youpers up in
Youp? Oh, hey there. Yeah, that's it's funny. That's about 8 hours away from me when going like way up there. That's far. So I've only really been up there twice and on there, but it's beautiful. When we moved here from Cleveland, my job transferred me up here. I didn't know really much about Grand Rapids, but this west side of Michigan, look, I love Cleveland. It is my home, and I cheer for the Browns, Guardians, all that. But this place is crazy beautiful. I mean, it's really neat.
White sand, dune beaches.
Oh,
I live in New York. Most people think I live in the city. I live in Western New York. But let me tell you this: as you put your hand up, I lived right here. I was a Michigander as well. I worked for Whirlpool. I lived in St. Joe, Michigan.
Right on.
For about 9 years. Yeah.
Going out to dinner tonight with a kid, or the guy that his kid works for Whirlpool. He just got transferred. He's going to go from St. Joe. He's moving out to California from that. He's working for Whirlpool.
Good for him.
For
him.
Yeah, man. So let's get to the art, man.
Oh, well, get to the art. Well, so if this is all post-pandemic, I mean, I had Mr. Hoffman's class and I drew, and I remember he kind of encouraged me to say, like, you think about art school, you should think about art school. And I path of least resistance, and I got to get a portfolio. That's too much work or whatever. I just went my own way, but when I went for a liberal arts degree, whenever I could take an elective, I would draw or find those classes, and I like to do that. And then when I lived in Cleveland after school, I would periodically go down to the Institute and go, they would have those drop-in classes that you could do drawings and stuff. And I like to do that. And it was more like for the relaxation on there. Well, I mean, then family came and had to cut the grass and, just life happened. And I wasn't doing anything for years. And when the pandemic hit, I was in a really bad place, guys. I gained a bunch of weight. I just wasn't happy and I wasn't right. And I knew I needed to start doing something. So in this hand of God, I walked out into my garage and I grabbed some like old Home Depot drop cloth paper. I had a big roll of it. I took it down in my basement and I just taped it to the wall. And I found like sidewalk chalk, just stuff that I had in the garage or, the kids' drawer. And I just started doodling as I was talking, like with work. And so I think I needed to be moving around or something. And after probably 2 or 3 weeks of doing that, my younger son, who was, I don't know, was he probably a freshman or sophomore at that time, he came in, he goes, you should stream that. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And so he taught me, and I got a Twitch channel, then a TikTok and an Instagram. And I didn't do any of those social medias before. Yeah. Because I started posting that. And then, through that, I don't have a big following yet, but I mean, I got some people that were like, do you sell this? So an Etsy page came online, and I started selling a little bit through that. And then the company I worked for was like, Broderick, you're the unicorn. You're the only one that doesn't want to go back to work, or that wants to go back to work. Everybody else loves being at home. We're never going back. Oh. And I went to my wife. I was like, I can't do this for another 12 years. I'm going to lose my mind. And so she's like, all right, what do you want to do? And she encouraged me to quit. And I really owe her a lot. That she supported me on this. And she's a realtor, and she's been doing pretty well. I mean,
shout out to her.
Yeah, well, yeah, I complain a lot, but I owe her a lot too on that. So it's been great. And she's a great sort of consigliere when I question what I'm going to do, and she'll shoot it straight and, like, that's dumb or that's a good idea. But I said I was thinking about doing this. So I started doing art shows and started doing craft fairs, just whatever I could, like getting out and learning. And I started, with just prints and my originals, and some of that sold, and that was nice and things. But it really wasn't until like the mugs and tumblers, which I sent you guys a couple of them, and I'd sell other stuff. I started putting my art on things, and that's done okay. That I go out and I do a lot of West Michigan related stuff in Cleveland. There's you guys, Myers. It's kind of like the lower.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's like a Walmart or a Target type of thing, but based here in Michigan. Well, I met some people there, and they had a store that's kind of a local market, and they were like, you interested in getting in? I'm like, yeah. So I have a table. I have a little shaker bread section there, and that did really well. Well, they opened a market in Cleveland, the Fairfax market, right by the University Hospital. And so there's a shaker bread section there. My mom and dad are my merchandisers. I send them little care packages every week, and they run down cards and they set up the
right on.
They do all stuff on that. So it's been, it's been good. It's financially, it's not replaced what I left, but it's not nothing. And like, I need like 20 stores, and then we're talking. I've got 2 right now of those. I've got some other little ones, but so we're building, we're working, and that's the goal. But the whole art thing is, I still do that when I just feel like I'm out of sorts, like I need to go draw or just go do something to relax and not do it. Now, like, work is making those money. Like, I got an order, I got to go, like, I got to go make that stuff and like box up coasters and stuff and do that. But it's a lot of fun.
So this has been going on since 2020 or after 2020? When did you actually engage?
Well, let's see. I would say full force about 2 years ago. I was drawing and doing stuff, but doing it behind the scenes of the job that I had. I was a director of a call center. Same thing, right? It's like art, So I ran a call center. A group of people in Cleveland, here in Grand Rapids, and in Phoenix. And I did that, and I'd travel around and work with them. And, I was pretty much focused on it. And I tell you, like, had it not been for the pandemic, I bet you I'd still be, that's what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff that's on there. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know where this story is going to end, but it's going to be a good one. Hopefully it's going to be like, it's great.
Happy,
I mean,
that's what counts.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fun, Eric. One day I was the younger son, the one that helped me with the social media stuff. I was just sort of walking around in the house, and he was passing me in the hallway, and he just stopped. He looks at me and goes, you're a lot nicer now, and just contract them a lot. So
Yeah,
I knew we were on your source something.
Validation.
You're rushed through life.
Yeah.
Well, I knew what he meant. Yeah, I just wasn't so like, come on, you know. And I still get a little bit like that, but I mean, it just was, catch of the breath, and it was very nice. It was very validating that he said that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's,
And I think the most important thing as we get older and hopefully wiser is, living your most authentic self, however that is, because that matters. It matters. So
Completely. I didn't give it the value that it was due until, I mean, I don't know, until I got like locked in that box, the pandemic, that made me sort of really real, like, what am I doing? I don't have anything, I'm working like a dog to try and get this stuff together. Right. That I don't want to say didn't have any value. The people that I worked for and the stuff, I liked that company. I liked those people on that, but if I left, they didn't matter. They don't even care that, I'm not, I still got a couple friends, but it's just like, there was no void. It didn't matter, so that authentic self, I'm like, I don't know. I hope that I feel, or I hope others see that I'm contributing, because I feel like I am more, and
right on. So, in terms of your output, like what is like your creative process? Do you see yourself like working on several pieces at a time every week, or when inspiration strikes?
Great question. Yeah. So, when I started this, I found, and you guys are both creative souls, and I bet you have sketchbooks that have half done pieces and things you like start, and I just never get done with that. I was committed myself for saying, you're going to start something, you're going to finish it. That was the thing. I was like, good, bad, whatever, you finish it. Then and I don't know why I got into this, but then the thing was, the guts was, post it, put it online, because that was the thing. I wanted to get the engagement. I want to start talking with people. And that's when I reconnected with Betsy Whalen, Catherine Ziegler. I saw all these people from like kindergarten, like guys I hadn't talked to. And yes, it wasn't like giving them a hug and doing that, but I was talking to people again and engaging, and that felt really good. So I was probably doing about 4 pieces a week or 3 pieces a week that I was doing, and I would put them online. When I work 1 piece from beginning to end in a session. I might have some sketches that I'll do as doodles and things, but I will have, this is what I want to complete. I like doing it when I go out on location and I drag my stuff out there and set up. And that's probably maybe like 30% of what I do. A lot of it's like recon with photos or things that I've got that I might even merge stuff together, and like, I like this piece of that and do that. But then I will, draw. I'm in my little like, studio space that I've got here right now. This is the little, rented this little studio thing that I have, and I set up here, and it's not much, but it's got all my junk in it, and my chalk dust isn't in my wife's house anymore, so she's happy with that. And I come here and I draw, and I make my stuff, and I don't know. So the process is, I will find an image, and then I kind of go at it, and I just try and infuse as much color and kind of energy with it. Probably takes me about 90 minutes, 2 hours to complete from beginning to end.
Yeah. Do you do anything in like Illustrator or Photoshop for touch up or anything?
No, nothing like that, really. My wife, in her previous life, when we lived in Cleveland, was a wedding photographer. She did that when like our kids were little, and she's my photographer. She'll come in and she takes photos of that. That's then what we use to post on the website, or then do the prints and the images that we send off to the printer on that. So she still has like all the good gear and the toys that she doesn't let me play with on that.
Yeah. But no, it sounds like a good synergy,
It is. It again, and she's a doer, so it's like, she's like, she'll get stuff done. So that's cool. I can hem and haw, but she's no, we're doing it.
Right.
That's a really bold thing that you did, because a lot of shaker wrights went through art school, but what you've missed is the critiques and the influence. But it's amazing that you're able to produce what you produce with confidence on your own. That is just crazy, because maybe it was a good thing that you didn't go to art school, because you didn't have to deal with people in your ear. Because when I was designing products, so a lot of times I would let too many people get into my head, and it would drive me away from my solution, which was good in the beginning.
Right.
But, I was just thinking of your process, and then what you might have missed at art school, which is good and bad as well. Not bad, but I mean, it's just different approach.
No, I mean, I never really thought of that, like what you were just saying. I felt I missed the critiques on there. That's why I love when people, and shameless plug, but if you're watching this, I love it when people like say something that they like, or even if they don't like about my piece that's out there. I want to hear that. I don't think it will change what I'm doing, but I love to hear what people are thinking or how they react to it.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, when I would do these art shows, I remember early on, I would like roll my eye. I would get so sort of upset when they would set me next to another artist, especially a really good artist, like, shit, nobody's going to come to my But it was the ancillary. What I really found was those were the most sharing people, the ones that we talked, and they drew in more people too.
Yeah.
But I was like, who can I get next to and talk to? So I work kind of hard to develop some other artists that are around here, very different styles, but that have these processes to kind of like talk to about them and what they're working on, and then a little bit about what I'm working on and how I'm doing it too. So I don't know if I got that, professor critique, but I definitely got people that were, hey, here's what I think, or this is what I think you should do. And, took it for what it was worth. Probably not a lot I took action on, but some I was like, oh, that's interesting, and would stow it away.
Well, what your work and what I enjoy about your work is the honesty and the simplicity about it, which is very hard to achieve when you go through a program, because you're influenced by so many people, and you stay true to yourself, which is great. And what happens to a lot of art students becomes highbrow, and it becomes technique, and you develop your own technique with your own confidence by yourself, which is, tribute to you. That is really a hard thing to do.
Well, Eric, we need to talk more often. You make me feel really good.
Yes,
I want to show you something. I don't want to take your light away, but I want to tell you that type of thing happened to me during the pandemic, and I've got a phrase for it. It's called solitary refinement. I was someone that got really accustomed to using electronic products, using the computer and CAD and everything. And then when the pandemic hit, I was going through a lot of stuff personally. So I headed down to the basement and started using my hands. And I use a lot of puns, visual puns, to describe things. And my classmates, my newfound classmates, are finding that out because I'm taking pictures and video. And, for instance, there's people dancing. I sped it up and put the Peanuts theme to it, so, something that people could relate to. I want to grab something that's behind me. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, art is just very subjective. And, obviously we live in what I call a psychotic capitalist world. There's stuff that's pushed upon us because of gatekeepers. And
I recommend, I'm sure there's one near you. There's a maker's place in Rochester.
I'm part of the makers group here in Grand Rapids. I go, and talk with them.
Yeah,
they're very involved. Actually. Yeah. Yep.
So I was thinking about landmines and undermines, and we're going through Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. So I started taking foam, styrofoam, and just treating them different ways, and I just couldn't stop doing it. then here's one that's very,
oh, that's cool.
The way that I thought of the United States. These are Nerf pieces. And then thinking about, the racial conversations, and I have tons of them. So, and it kept me sane. And I had no one to judge me about it. I was confident enough to do it by myself. So that was my epiphany, my artistic epiphany, stepping away from the more electronic stuff.
ABC, always be creating. ABC.
There's a lot to be said for that. And I know what you mean. Like when you're making that stuff and you were like, you kind of get the thing. I'm not making it for anybody but me. I needed to do this. And so I guess I didn't need anybody else's opinion. I was doing it for me. And if people liked it, that's just a bonus. If they didn't, well, then turn off the channel,
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best therapy. It really is. And to be striving towards something or finding other pathways when you're creating, like, oh, that's not where I thought I was going to go, but I'm not going to fight against where this art is taking me. And it's a great feeling.
Yeah. Well, when I was exploring this art, I started off with just whatever tools I had around me, the whole Dale Carnegie, just begin, start. And as I evolved, I was going in and out of an art store in Grand Rapids. It's like they have Kendall College, which is an art school, but down there they have one really good art store that's selling. And I was buying a bunch of these really expensive press chalks, and I think I was in there about 3 times in about 2 weeks. And this lady, she goes, you cannot be going through this much chalk. Are you like eating it? Like what are you doing? And I was like, no, I was trying to get deeper, richer color on that. I really like the color. And whenever I rub on the paper, it seems to fade. The fibers come back through. And she said, have you ever tried different paper? And I was like, well, paper's paper, right? And she said, no. So she hooked me up to, I now draw on either 600 grit or 800 grit sandpaper. It's archival art paper. So you blow through a ton of chalk, but it gets so much product on the paper on that. So you have a little bit shorter of a window of blending it. If you rub it too much, it begins to not like it. Sandpaper, it'll begin to bind. It gets a little shiny. So you kind of have to watch that. But it's changed everything. And I'm really not done playing and exploring with that. But I imagine I will find something else and go on to other types of mediums that are on there. But my wife kind of keeps encouraging me, like, all right, let's try something. I'm like, I like what I'm doing right now. So
the great thing is the expense drives you. You try to find other ways because art supplies are expensive as
they are.
All get out.
It's crazy expensive.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. But that was like, but it doesn't need to be an excuse. That was the thing at the beginning. I could show you, if you go back to the beginning of my website or my postings that I had, it was Home Depot drop cloth paper and sidewalk chalk. Mm-hmm. And charcoal, and I would just draw them out. And I still have, when I go and do, I sometimes go and do speaking engagements with groups and talk about, what I've been up to and what I've been doing. I bring a few of those along, and I don't know, the technique has definitely changed a lot, but I mean, it's still, I get very proud about thinking about that it was just like, you could complain and say, well, why I can't do this. I don't have the, save it to somebody else. Get off the cross. We need the wood. Just go try, do it, figure it out, and, draw on the sand. I mean, so.
Do you, I've got 2 questions. Do you sell all or most of your art as prints, or do you sell the original artwork?
I sell a lot of the originals. So other than what my wife will lay claim to, and then I give as gifts. I offer up for sale. My I get no bigger thrill than that my stuff gets out there. I love the fact that was just the other day there were 285 that bought some stuff online, that from me, and I when I'm packing that stuff and sending it out, I was thinking like, this is something I made's going to go on their wall, or they think enough of it to give it as a gift to somebody else.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing of a better feeling on that. So, having it, in a folder or one of those drawer things that I have, I'd rather get it out, and do it.
Speaking of that, I decided to run our tickers because.
I totally forgot. I was engrossed in our conversation. Usually I do that. That's all good. Check out the Shaker Garment Company. Shaker theme nostalgia, new vintage as we call it. And there's a little something for everybody.
All right.
So there you go. In terms
let me ask this real quick, or am I cutting in front of you? We do this a lot.
No, go ahead.
So crews and clicks, okay? I want to start this, bring you back with your crew and click. What are some of your favorite memories of being back at Shaker, and who are the people that you hung with, and who were your partners in crime?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where I would be without this group on there. And we could talk for weeks about them all, that group gets so big, but my single best friends, and to this day, are Chris Garofoli and Chris Valerian. I grew up with those guys, and nobody could make you laugh any harder. You talk about people that should be on this show, and I will help to you say like I can nominate people, and I'll talk to them about coming on. Chris Garofoli, there isn't a thing that we could do. We could be at a funeral, and that guy will make you laugh. He's just so funny, quick. I think that I'm quick. He's quick. I mean, he's 10 steps ahead on that.
Yeah.
And he is also, he's a blessing to have as a friend, because he's the hardest working friend out there. He's that guy that's making the calls. That you talk about the kickball game and getting Sullivan and getting bats. You need to call Garofoli. He's going to be the guy saying,
we're
going to 1-up 84. Okay, we're going to have we're getting Gus to get the gyro spit out there. We're going to get we're going to have all of it. We're going to be at Thornton Hill. No, he's just he's amazing. He's full of energy. Actually, he can't sit still. That is one of the things that sort of drives me crazy about him. But then Chris Valerian, I didn't know him until we got into high school. I mean, we were aware of each other, but it was funny. I lived on Ellesmere and he lived on Avalon. We were literally, you could throw a football in his house, but he went to St. Dominic's all the way up until he went to Ignatius for his freshman year, but then left and came to Shaker. And we met there and became, fast friends. And he's an amazing guy. But those guys, I mean, I don't know if they'd want me to put me in with them, but I feel like we were the three amigos. We hung hard. There wasn't a Friday or Saturday night we weren't cruising South Woodland looking for the parties, or whose house we could run into.
Well, for all of you that are out there, I'm making this announcement. I'm trying to coordinate and corral some people that were in a language skills class at Byron. David Embry, John Miller, Ray Moore, if I can find them, and just talk about the crazy madcap stuff that we used to do. And if any of you out there have a crew that you want to bring on, it's going to be called Clicks and Crews. We'd like to interview you singly, but we'd also like to hear from your crew and hear the stories and see what you remember.
Yeah,
I would love to hear all this. It was very fun hearing the Fun Club together. That was good.
Oh, the Fun Bunch, yeah. We just scratched the surface with them. I could realize, with that, hopefully get John Dent, Lee on, and Mullins.
Those guys were very funny on that. I do have to say this one. So on that, I was at the John Dent party when he locked the police out.
Yeah.
And that cop that looked like Bull from Night Court, he was in the back at the door, yelling at me to open the door. And I was like, Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, that shaved head.
Exactly.
And he was like, open this door. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I was ready to like cave on that. Like, but I didn't. John worked out some sort of like amnesty thing that if you go out the front door, you leave, and those who want to go home, go home. And I was in the processional that went out, and we got to get away from that. But I'll never forget that guy. He was really pissed. And and like John Dent, I have such admiration for that guy. He is like literally fearless. When we grew up, I don't know, he would just, there would be crazy stories, and you kind of like, oh, that didn't happen. But then I got involved, and they did happen. And we graduated. We were over at Jimmy Capoletti's house and shooting baskets. And somebody was like, hey, we're going to go watch Rambo. The second Rambo was out, and we're going to go to Randall to see it on that. And I'm like, I'm in. So I went out with, John Dunn, Will, I think Bixler, those guys around there. And I didn't know we were going to do this, but we go in behind the Hickory Farms where the service access is. And Dent's got a coat hanger, and we go in, and he jams it open, and he gets the thing to click, and he goes, all right, when I open the door, we all run. You go as far back as you can get. Now, if you get busted, you're busted. You got to wait until, the show's over. But everybody meet to the back row. And it was like, click. And it's like 5 guys just went running off and another. And we eventually worked our way in the back. And it was, I don't know. He was like fearless. I think I wet my pants. I didn't know what I was doing.
That reminds me of, did you guys do the knock at the Vogue where people would actually go to
the side door? Yeah.
Or it's the side door, knock, and then people would just go in and open it and bring them in.
Few bad apples ruined it for all of us. Yeah, no, the Vogue. Yeah, we did that. I was there a lot. The Friday night skate or the going to the Vogue on Saturday, and then getting kicked out of Draggers. I remember doing that, the ice cream shop over.
You know what I just remembered? I think it was, oh gosh, I can't, man. Someone leaned their bicycle against Draggers and cracked the window and had to pay for it. Who was it? I can't think of his name right now. I just saw, I can't think. I was going to not Brian.
That guy who owned it was the angriest guy ever. Like, he shouldn't have owned a candy shop. He was like, like he loved locking that door at 10, not 10:01. It was like, click. You come like running down after the movie and like, we're closed. It's over, and just, like, I think of the candy shopper should be like the Willy Wonka guy who's singing songs and throwing out candy. And it was just like, it's over. It's done. Yeah. No candy for you.
Yeah, if anyone knows out there, let me know who broke that Traeger's window.
Who broke the window?
That's important. That's important.
So there was a Facebook message that Sullivan left, and he was trying to pin it on you. What's the reference and context behind the flagpole and a joint?
Well, I don't. That was okay. I don't know what Brian was referencing. I swear to God, I would own it if there was something on that. I think he was trying to be funny, but I don't know. I don't know anything that he's talking about.
Okay.
So
I was like, how does somebody roll a joint up on the flagpole or something?
Yeah,
I was just
that was never. And that's seriously, that was never my scene when I was in high school. I mean, I drank beer. We'd go to Buckeye Beverage and get beer, but I never really, I imagine I tried it, but I was never like regular on that's on there. I hated cigarette smoke so much, like my parents smoked when we were younger, and we got a guy complained so much we got them to quit. So they were like, they got hypnotized to quit smoking as they were like so sick of us on that. But I never was into that.
Yeah.
Roger Lieberman. Sorry, my brain
broke the window.
Broke the window.
All right, Roger. They're coming after you. The Drager's heirs want that money.
I think he was too honest. I think he paid for it, from what I heard.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
So there's a message. Let me throw it up on the screen from Sully. He's like, David Steeler and I did that. Okay. Oh,
I'm not sure what he's referencing on that. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I have no memory. I can neither confirm nor deny the joint on the flagpole.
so Brian Sullivan, we will, once we get you on the show, you can explain yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I had especially when I talk about Shaker recreation, because your dad and I used to play catch every day. So I had a related. He was like my second dad. Just playing baseball, the Shaker recreation man. I loved that. And I'm wondering, do you have any paraphernalia left over, like a Shaker recreation jacket and the walkie-talkie and that kind of stuff? That was really cool back then. Remember that? Did you guys at yours? We had one at Lomond.
Yeah, we had the Shaker Rec guy. It was Stu Gilbert, who became a teacher. And,
I remember Stu. Yeah, he was in my sister's class. Yeah, Stu.
Well, but we were the bane of his existence, because we were like left over when he became a teacher and he got to school. It was like, good morning, Dr. Jarvis. Good morning, Dr. Hey, Stu. He was like, it's Mr. Gilbert. That like, no, it's Stu. And he never. I think that got even handed down to kids who didn't know him from the playground. Everybody just called him Stu. And I don't know if you ever shook that.
I wonder what that gig paid, because I guess it was I remember the Shaker Recreation. I think the headquarters was on the end at Lomond and Lee on the left side. It's not. Yeah. I think they built a house, and I think they built into what it used. It reminded me of
I remember that, because
Snoopy's dog house. That's what it looked like.
Yes. I remember that. My mom taking me there, because you get your like passes for Thornton and other stuff that you have to go there, and they take your picture. And because that was like the winter time when you go, and I remember that. Yeah. No, growing up in Shaker was amazing. That was really, I can't even count the ways I feel like there was a blessing for that.
Yeah. You might have said this, but I might not have caught it. When did your family move there? When did you
I was like 3 years old, so it was probably like 1970. Moved into Ellesmere, and we're there for 12 until I was in between 5th and 6th grade, and then we moved over to Colby.
Okay. Yeah. And where were your parents from originally? Where were you living before you moved to the Shaker area?
Well, they lived in Youngstown, a little town called Salem, just outside of Youngstown. My dad's side of the family had some business down there, and so he was working for that. But he ended up leaving and coming back up to Shaker. But as I said, my mom went to Shaker. My dad, it was kind of interesting. He was a Malvern kid. He went through that. But his father, who was a dentist, got drafted. They needed dentists. He was a maid, he had a family, but they were like, we need dentists. So he moved to San Antonio, or I think it was San Antonio. So he was down on like the Air Force base was down there. But my dad then went and did high school at a boys' school in Arizona. Ironically, it was the school where they filmed Billy Jack. It was like, I
remember that movie.
Yeah, but it wasn't. He was like, it wasn't like that, but it wasn't like kumbaya. But he rode horses, and he learned to play polo and stuff like that. So he was out there and did that for a while. But then my dad's mom still had their house on Fairmount. They lived right up from Campus Drug, like 3 houses up. And when my grandma passed away, my mom and dad sold their house on Colby and then bought my grandmother's house from my aunts. And then we moved in there. That was a tail end of me being there. And then, so they were there for a while. They've sold that house several years ago, and they live over in Lyndhurst, right by like Hawken Lower Campus now. So they're up over there.
So you're Shaker bona fide, several generations.
Shaker through and through. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Got that. That's absolutely. I know all the old references and stuff, but it was a good time. I delivered the press over on Ellesmere, Delford, and Avalon. I did the Plain Dealer for a couple of years. Yeah, we were all around that. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Any last thoughts
Oh,
about the
I've got to
Shaker
ask him.
experience?
How about
Yeah.
the our metaphor? Our metaphor is we started at the same base camp, come full circle, landed here. What did Shaker teach you that you took out into the world? And what were some things that you saw outside of Shaker that were different, that was different from your Shaker experience?
Well, something I still probably don't even pay this the due that it's deserved, but my or our intolerance isn't the right word, but our tolerance of diversity and inclusion. I don't even really think of it as it was, there was a lot of different people, different mindsets that came together. And I know I have I feel very lucky about that I have I grew up in a diverse thing. I was thinking about this, that I don't like when people are like, oh, I got a lot of black friends. I don't really think about that. I'm sure I've got people that are black that I don't like. I've got black people that are black that I do like. Being black didn't define why. I mean, white people I didn't like. There were white people I did like, but it wasn't like that was the thing that drove why I did or I didn't like somebody that's on that. And that was, a really neat thing. I also different religions and mindsets and ideologies. Growing up in Shaker, I've got tons of Jewish friends, and I feel really lucky that I've been a part of seeing that culture and being able to be embraced on that. And I'm not worldly traveled, but I don't know if every place that I go, well, I don't think they're exposed to all that difference to be able to, I don't know, coalesce and understand and, I don't know, just like people or dislike people for who they are, and not for the label that they have on that. And that was the thing Shaker was so ahead of its. I don't know. I want to ask you guys a question. I can remember going to school in a diverse classroom, but probably, and I don't even know, white guys outnumbered black guys in the school on that. And I didn't really think of it that much. When you went, did it play in your mindset that it was like, wow, we're not at the same ratio, or was it different and uncomfortable for you guys?
Well, growing up,
do something to make it more uncomfortable.
Well, the spaces that we travel in, just as being black people, that's always the case. And while I grew up in Shaker, my family moved there in '69. So that's pretty much all I knew. And when I went to a Montessori school, it was hippie led and it was very integrated. So I was lucky then. And not everyone has our same story. It's other people felt different. There's a term that we always used, code switching. When we're around different sets of people, you learn how to present yourself in different ways so that you blend in better. You don't, it's just like being with your friends. You don't speak to your friends the way that you would speak to adults, but we have to use that code switching culturally, especially when we're looking for a job or interviewing, and there's just different ways that you have to conduct yourself as a minority, if and just to fit into the group that's right in front of you. That's basically that's a known fact, what black people have to do to coexist.
Well, for me, I was aware. I grew up in the Ludlow area, and that was kind of ground zero for the Shaker integration roots there. So that was sort of like in the back of my head, but I was, it wasn't until really later I had the language to kind of articulate about it. But there was there was an awareness like, oh, I'm a person of color at Shaker, and I was viewed differently, again, to different different audiences of Black people as well as some white people from being from Shaker and what that represented. Like, I'll give you a case in point. Like, when you think about Shaker being in the Lake Erie League for sports and stuff, schools like Shaw, Cleveland Heights, Warrensville, they had a different vibe about Black people from Shaker. They just assumed that every Black person from Shaker was bougie and lived a certain way, and so there was like a social econ classism, or oftentimes about that thing, that played out. So yeah, there were nuances, I would say, about that awareness. So yeah,
And if you're familiar with the book, and I recommend it, we're not making any money selling this book, but Laura Meckler's Dreamtown, made me really aware about what we experienced and how different it was.
Yeah, I read that, and I actually reached out to Lori and like wrote her a little note, kind of like told her what how great I thought it was, and it was crazy going through that. The one thing that struck me, I don't know if you guys, when you read that book, when she talked about Mr. McIntyre being an old, frail guy, I was like, no, that's not the Mr. McIntyre.
No, he was like, yeah,
exactly. But she wrote, like, he was like, they even said he was like, slender and small. I was like, oh, and different. But that really is what I don't know. I mean, I don't think I gave it enough thought. I hoped I treated people, just by how, they acted and I reacted to them. That was on that, not that there was some like agenda, but I also then reading her book, I was like, maybe I should have thought more about how somebody coming into an environment that, being, different, I could have done more. And I don't know. Again, I'm very lucky that I think I went to Shaker, but I also think as, a parent, I need to make sure that I'm doing more and just socially out there, just, being an advocate for an inclusion and understanding and, providing people opportunities.
So is Grand Rapids, are you in a community that has diversity, or is it?
Not like Shaker. Yeah. No, I mean, no. It's great. I mean, we love it, but not as much. The company that I worked for was very inclusive focused. It was that was one of the really neat things. It was Farmers Insurance, and they really worked hard on that. And
we are farmers.
I used to have that. We used to have that.
Yeah, they did a lot, and that was a great thing about them.
So, well, man.
Well, gentlemen, I can't thank you guys enough. I appreciate this. It was wonderful to talk to you and
and thank you again for the swag.
Exactly.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You need to check out my man's work if you haven't already. Shaker Brud. Support.
Easy to remember, right?
Yeah, Shaker Brud. Yes. And hey, man, constant elevation with your art and everything.
Well, thank you. All the best, guys.
Yeah, God willing, I'll see you at your reunion because I will crash it.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Everybody on this, I hope everybody is well, and
that's the main thing.
Go Guards, go Browns.
Yeah.
I want to make a shout out to James Hart. He had a few, and he told me that I needed a new mic, so I got a new mic, James.
Oh, Donovan.
Donovan. Donovan,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Donovan
I read
Hart,
Jim,
yeah.
and I used the cheat. Why does it say Jim in the yearbook? James.
He's known by Donovan now. So,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. So he's an old new classmate to me, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, Donovan.
Okay.
I got a new mic.
My mic sounds nice. Check 1, check 2. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and adding comments, and keep on supporting us, bearing witness and telling Shaker stories. This is the Shaker Heights. Experiences may vary. I'm Gabe Tolliver.
Eric Green.
And you've heard from Broderick Bebout,
a.k.a. Brud.
Next
Take
week,
care, everybody.
Yeah. Next week, we have, I think, one of our youngest Shaker folk on, Miguel Brown, M. Stacks Brown. So that'll be an interesting one. I think he's like class of 2000 something. So we'll see what these youngins got to talk about.
Exactly.
All right, everybody.
We invite all and every Shakerite, every experience.
Until next time, be safe. And we're out of here.
Let's see if I can do this. No, next time.